Hi everybody, I'm David Lisot. We're here in Newark, Ohio at the Early American Coppers Coin Convention. Get ready for an adventure. We're going to talk to the people that will tell you about some of the interesting varieties and the things that make these early American copper coins so cool.
Honestly, there's a lot of coins that I really enjoy, but my favorite actually is the 1857. And right now I like the 1857 because that was the last year that the large cents were ever minted. And to me, that was a huge transitional period for our country. And 1857, the copper, the weight of the copper that was in the coin was worth much more than 1 cent. And so people were getting too smart and they were taking the 1857 cent, melting them down, and then selling the copper back to the government for them to make more. So basically they were running a scam on the government by taking these, and so at that point in time they stopped production officially with the 1857 half cents also, which, as we know, half cents weren't in business circulation at that point. And so the 1857 large cent, they stopped production on that and they moved to the Flying Eagle cent. But to me, the 1857 represents a transition in the time of our country that was fairly significant. The value of an 1857 cent is around $300. And that's significant to me because it's the first 1857 that I had personally ever bought. But to me, it's priceless.
I'd like to share this with you. This is a DiState display where you can trace 11 different DiStates on the same variety of Sheldon variety. Luckily, all of these coins are mid-state, so it's easy to observe the different DiStates, and we call it catch a falling star. There's a star that actually disappears because the die was filled up, then the die emptied, and the star reappears twice. 11 different DiStates. Interesting stuff. I have here a first edition of the Early Coins of America. This is Sylvester S. Crosby's 1875. Crosby's work is often considered the foundational work of American numismatic literature. This is still, if you're doing serious research in colonials in particular, you still have to start here. You know, the book's 140 some years old at this point, and yet it is still a standard reference. There's been an awful lot of work, an awful lot of scholarship done since then, but this is still where you have to start. He did such a good job going through various archives and not just dealing with the coins, but he did the legwork, going around to various archives and libraries and researching. What was the history behind these coins? Why were they struck? What was the legislation like? Who were the people involved? You know, who brought about Connecticut coppers or New Jersey coppers? You know, what's the history of these? And then not only did he write this wonderful work, but he had it wonderfully printed. It's on very nice paper. These plates, you can use a magnifying glass on these plates. Modern coin books, you can't do that. They're halftones. You'll just be looking at a bunch of dots. You know, you can use a magnifier on these. These are nice heliotypes, they're called. And they're outstanding photographic plates. Like I said, there's a first edition copy, 1875. This is the original binding that it would have been in, and this is a wonderful item. It's generally you hear 350 copies of this, and I think that's probably right.
What kind of value?
This is worth about $2,000, you know, give or take a little, depending on condition.
Yes, I have one right here. This is the first year the United States made them, 1793. This is an outstanding example, and it is fairly priced at a mere $30,000 for a penny. A cent.
Why is the first year so interesting to people?
Well, because who was president the first year? That'd be George Washington, right? Well, he might have even held this coin in his hand. John Adams may have used this while he was playing poker. Thomas Jefferson could have had this coin when he was paying his slaves. This could have been it. So, guess what? This is the coin that is started it all right here, 1793, cent. Now, here's the question for you. How many pennies has the United States made?
None.
0. That is the correct answer, sir. You're a well-educated man. Thank you.
What is the what is the image on the large cent, and why did they choose that particular picture?
It's a flowing hair. It's supposed to represent liberty. But there were some people that were upset with this particular design, the Puritans in Congress. They said the only women went out at night without a hat were women, a working girl at the night, and that her hair looked straggly and looked like a frightened winch in the wind. So they changed it at the very next year. In fact, at the end of the first year, they had 5 different coins they made the first year because Congress couldn't make up their mind. Very stunning. I can't imagine Congress being so indecisive even in those days.
And what's on the reverse of this one?
The reverse, this has a wreath, and in the wreath it says 1 cent, of course, in the United States of America around it. So there you go.
And what kind of value on that one?
This is $30,000.
One of the really neat coins I have is 1800 NC4. When William Sheldon first described the die varieties of the early date large cents, those coins dated between 1793 and 1814, he devised a system where most of the varieties had what we call today Sheldon numbers. Those numbers range from 1 to 295, covering the period. But he also has what he calls non-collectible varieties. Those were varieties that were so rare that the average person couldn't collect them. They would never have a chance to get them. Some of those varieties, as more pieces were discovered, became much more common, and then they changed it from non-collectible to now collectible, maintaining the same NC system. New varieties discovered after his works were published continued the NC number sequence. The coin that I have, the 1800 NC4, today there are 8 examples that are known. Of those 8 examples, 1 grades extremely fine 40. The second best grades very good 7, and all the others, the other 6, all grade good 4 or less. This particular piece, PCGS is graded at about good 3. My personal grade for the coin is also about good 3. What I really like about this coin, David, is the massive die breaks in the left obverse field. Most die states, and that's what's important to Steve Ellsworth, most die states, you have to grab a magnifying glass to even be able to see them. But this one, you can just look at it. I can hold it at arm's length and I can easily see the die breaks that show on the left obverse field. It's a really exciting piece.
What caused the die breaks?
A die break is literally exactly what it sounds like. The die, the steel die that was used to strike the coin, literally broke apart. That was because the extreme pressure that was used to strike the coins, some steel dies had stress points that didn't occur in other dies. And those dies with the unusual stress points tended to break apart quickly. The quick break apart of the dies created rarities. It also created very easily identifiable features. And that's exactly what you see on this 1800 NC4.
And what kind of value for this piece?
It's in an auction, so I don't know exactly what the value is. Ballpark, maybe $8,000 to $10,000.
Okay.
One of the things I tell people when they ask me about value of coins coming in auction is ask me the day after the sale. I'll tell you exactly what it's worth.